again. My name's Gabe Zolna. This is the 11th of January 2019. Article posted on the Daily Wire written by Hank Barron, that's B-E-R-R-I-E-N, dated January the 10th, 2019. Sculpture honoring Saudi Arabia has been placed on World Trade Center grounds. One of 20 sculptures erected on the World Trade Center grounds that depict G20 countries as sugary delights may not have the same effect as the others. It's a 9-foot-tall statue honoring Saudi Arabia that is wrapped in the nation's emerald flag bearing the Arabic inscription, quote, "There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the prophet," end of quote. 15 of the 19 hijackers responsible for the murders of roughly 3,000 Americans came from Saudi Arabia. That's an absolute inaccurate statement. None of the hijackers were involved. It was done by our government. In September 2016, former President Barack Obama vetoed a bill allowing lawsuits against foreign sponsors of terrorism. Speaking of the Justice Against Sponsors of Terrorism Act, or JASTA, which would have permitted an exemption to the doctrine of sovereign immunity, so that one country could sue in another country's courts. Obama issued a 3-page veto message to Congress in which he stated that he had deep sympathy, of course he does, he's a Muslim, for the families of victims of terrorism, but making an exception would hinder a president's ability to conduct foreign policy, he wrote. I recognize that there is nothing that could ever erase the grief of 9/11 families have endured. Enacting JASTA into law, however, would neither protect Americans from the terrorist attacks or improve the effectiveness of our response to such attacks. 5 days after Obama vetoed the bill, both houses of Congress passed the bill into law, overriding the veto. In 2017, the families of 850 people who died and another 1,500 who were injured in 9/11 sued Saudi Arabia, alleging that Saudi Arabia government supported al-Qaeda in 4 ways. USA Today quoted an attorney for the families, Jim Crinkler, writing, "Before I talk about that, this happened in 2007, where they were allowed to sue Saudi Arabia. Have you heard of a single settlement being made? You won't. Saudi Arabia is waiting, as they should, for the grand jury that's going to look into 9/11, and Saudi Arabia will be cleared of all wrongdoing as it pertains to 9/11, but not all wrongdoing as it pertains to their hatred of America. They are followers of the Koran. The Koran is very clear. Lay the sword against the neck of infidels, or have them pay jizya, or have them convert. There is no fourth option." People need to wake up and realize that about Saudi Arabia. The suit named several Saudi Arabian charities that were alter egos of the government, that were staffed by the government, that ran terrorist training camps in Afghanistan, and the whole world knows they were dirty. The whole world except, looks like Jared Kushner and President Donald J. Trump. Kushner's a complete idiot. He's a Jew. He's got to understand that Saudi Arabia hates Jews, hates infidels. The charities worked with the late al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden to open offices in Pakistan and Afghanistan and establish the terrorist organization the suit alleges. Kinder claims that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia directly funded al-Qaeda. In March 2018, U.S. District Judge George Daniels dismissed the attempt by Saudi Arabia to reject the lawsuit, ruling that the plaintiff's allegations narrowly articulate a reasonable basis for him to assert jurisdiction over Saudi Arabia under JASTA. The statues honoring Saudi Arabia was created by French sculptor Laurence Jenkel in 2011. The 20 sculptures are titled Candy Nation. In December press release, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey issued this statement. In its continuing effort to transform the World Trade Center site into a dynamic space in Lower Manhattan, the Port Authority announced that beginning today, it will showcase famous candy sculptures around the world. Trade Center campus is crafted by the renowned French artist Laurence Jenkel. Each of the sculptures feature flags from the countries in the G20 summit. And the artwork was commissioned by companies and organizations including the Chanel Foundation, the International Olympics Committee, and Coca-Cola. Whoopie-doo, huh? I think it's totally insane for a whole lot of reasons. I don't think Saudi Arabia had anything to do with it, but they are a Muslim nation, followers of Sharia Law and followers of the Koran. They hate Americans. And again, the son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is a complete idiot. Doesn't seem to understand that. Muslims lie to achieve their objectives. Taqiyya. 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 You might want to repost this in all your social media accounts. You might want to pass this along to like-minded friends and ask them to do the same. Have you heard of one single dime being given to any family member by Saudi Arabia? Like I said, you won't. And they never will. They had nothing to do with the takedown of the Twin Towers. It was all done by our government. Right, George?